Game on, everybody! We have the Rare Cup today, and some of you might ask themselves right now, what the fuck is the Rare Cup, Khaldor? And I can answer that pretty quickly. Rare Cup is the Heroes launch tournament where Division 7 teams go up against Division 6 teams. So we're actually in the semifinals right now. We have the Portrait Goblins go up against the Mustache. And our first map is Khaldor. All best of threes, at least for the time being. And the interesting part here is going to be when we are hitting just generally Division 7 against Division 6 teams. 4 teams are remaining, 3 of those are Division 6, and 1 team is Division 7. Now, as we're heading into the draft, I have to throw out our little disclaimer again, because there's always that one guy on YouTube or somewhere else. So all of these guys that are playing here are between like bronze and gold. That's roughly the level that we're looking at right now. So it's more so at the bottom of the rankings when it comes to Heroes launch, the amateur scene in general. And we're gonna rip into a couple of these players, make fun of a few plays here, but also use those examples to showcase, hey, what you shouldn't do, how you could maybe improve. And the players are all aware of that. And as I said in the past, I actually get a lot of replays also sent because players are saying like, hey dude, can you maybe cast that? We like the series that you casted from all of the other teams, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. So, absolutely no reason to be offended on behalf of someone else here. Everybody is d'accord with what's happening here, and this is just all in good fun. So if you can't laugh about it, then maybe something's wrong with you and not with everybody else that enjoys these videos. Always have to throw that little disclaimer out. My apologies for everybody who heard that already now for the 50th time or something, but yeah, that's what it is like. Okay, as it happens, we have a lot of emote spam here coming on, and when it comes to the bans, obviously this is not full meta drafting that we're having here. There's a lot of preference picks and preference bans that come into play, so you can analyze your opponent's team a little bit. You can look at past matches they played, and you're like, they pretty much only play Jaina, so let's ban out Jaina. Or you ban Imperius because they love to play Imperius on that side lane, something like that. And yeah, there are heroes that are just not really having the same impact on that level that they do in Division S or somewhere else. In some other maps you would say, hey, Cursed Hollow. Alright, so Tyrael early on for the Sanctification on the boss. Maybe gonna drop that bird in at some point, or the Haka. Abertha, great pick here too. But as you can see here, instead we're getting a Rhaegar and Sonya rotation on the first picks for the Portrait Goblins. So not really quite what you would say, hey, these are power picks here. Now, Rhaegar has obviously some value, don't get me wrong. He can at least take camps pretty much by himself, thanks to the Lightning Shield. And when we're talking about taking camps by himself, we're also talking about taking the camp in a reasonable time frame. There's a ton of heroes that can take, pretty much every hero can take a camp. The question is just how long does that hero need to take that camp? Sonya also claimed, and as we said before, not really a hero that you normally see in an early rotation, but things are a little bit different here. Banning out Li Ming, that's something that we're probably going to see a little bit more often. Generally speaking, anything that has a reset is a huge threat on the lower level of play. We have Leoric and Tyrande in the game. And so far, I gotta say, from the Mustaches, this is actually a pretty solid setup right now. I mean, Diablo, Leo, Tyrande, there's even combo potential with the Diablo engaged into the Tyrande stun. If they can pull that off, that would be fantastic. And I think we're definitely going to see some of those tools being used, or at least attempted to being used. I mean, this is still a pretty competitive setup. They are playing in this cup right now and made it all the way to the semis. So there's definitely going to be concepts that both teams are going to try and adapt here. So as much as we're talking about this being the lower end of the skill ladder, then there's definitely going to be an attempt to put those concepts into play here and get an advantage through that. So picks coming through on the side of the Portrait Goblins, and we have the Dwarf and we have Thrall. So typically I would say once that you're having a triple frontline, Thrall with the Crash Lightning is definitely a tempting choice. Here, Cursed Hollow, Crash Lightning, not quite the pick you want to go for. It's still Echo of Elements there. There's pretty much 2 maps where you get a lot of value out of a Crash Lightning pick if you go for a triple frontline, and that is specifically Battlefield of Eternity and Volskaya Foundry. So we've mirrored in with that too. Not really a lot of synergy just yet on the team. And a Cassia Falstad setup for the damage for the Mustache. Alright. So with that, we're actually looking at the bird with a global. And we have Cassia also in the setup where she can try and capitalize a little bit on close quarter fights. But generally speaking, the bird here is going to try and have to play that macro play. And we've seen a lot of globals picked, but never used as a global in the Division 7 matches, so Let's see how this is gonna go. These teams are both Division 6, by the way. And Tigers, a little bit of a weird one. I mean, against Diablo, understandable, so the bigger they are. But then at the same time, he is going to be in a bit of trouble because his attack range is a little bit shorter. So we'll see what they can do with that. But as it stands, the stage is set for game number 1. So let's jump in. Cursed Hollow is our first map in the series here. Game on, everybody! The Portrait Goblins, not only with the Portrait synergy, but also with the name synergy here, go up against the Mustache. On the left side, of course, our first map, we have Don Trooper on Thrall, Colby on Rhaegar, Pukameli on Tychus, Aravian on Muradin, and George on Sonya. Alright. On the right side of the map, the Mustache with Blauer Mink on Diablo. Not to maybe mixed up with Roter Mink. Marco and Leoric, Search on Cassia, Pogo Kapi on Falstad, and Faldas on Tyrande. Alright, Echo of Elements as a level 1 talent, Milaiki. We're also having the Electric Charge now taken, so the increased radius. I guess generally speaking, it's gonna be a bit of a focus on Sonya when it comes to the setup that Rhaegar is going to use here. In terms of talents, we're actually seeing the Feast on Fear at this point, which is interesting, I gotta be honest, because Feast on Fear is usually a talent where you obviously, as you can see here, you get your value when you are able to get someone into stunned into a wall. And for that, as you might have guessed already, you have to stun someone into a wall. So on the on the lower end of the spectrum, though, we actually see oftentimes those stuns not really happening the same way that it's being taken care of in Division S, for example. So it's interesting that he actually goes for that talent instead of just simply going for something that would give him value either way, just simply through the stacks that he has. But as it stands, we're now also seeing the Wingman. We're having at the same time a charged strike build for Cassia, and already the camps that we've been talking about in that pressure. Yeah, Colby is going in. He's taking this here pretty easily. So I actually like this. 1 minute in, and the teams both are immediately starting to focus onto the camps. Looks like at least Falstad has a little bit more trouble with his right now. Doesn't quite get the value out there. But generally speaking, I like it. We have 1 minute in, the camps spawning, and immediately both of the teams are saying, alright, we're going to get some value here, and we go for the camps. And this is literally what you oftentimes have to do, that you're trying to time that properly and try and get camp value that way. Now, we don't really see anyone on the blue team make a rotation towards the Bruiser camp just yet. Faldas is already there, so it seems like it's going to be Falstad Tyrande on the camp. Not so sure about that, but they take the camp regardless, so I kind of like that they're at least making that play. Down to the bottom of the map, talking about plays, there's a bit of a rotation trying to deal with the Siege Giant camp. And we have In the Rhythm. Now I gotta be honest, In the Rhythm is pretty much, if you're playing on a competitive level, always the wrong choice. If you go up against a hero like Diablo, you want to go for the bigger they are. You are trying to use your trade after someone like Muradin or Thrall gets a lock on the target, and then you just get the entire value out of it. In the Rhythm is a pretty cool talent if you want to have some fun in quick match, if you're trying to play ARAMs. But generally speaking, if you go up in a normal game, you want to go for the bigger they are, especially if there are high hit point tanks on the other side, where you can capitalize real quickly on the talent and get that through. So, yeah, definitely a bit of a mispick. And it's honestly something that a lot of people think is great, but in reality, it's not. There's a reason why this talent is pretty much never picked when you're looking at the higher level of play. In this case, though, gets a couple of stacks together. We're going to see how many he ends up later on. But again, if you want to burn someone like Diablo down, that would be the best choice for you. Outside of that, Sonya is now also getting a little bit bullied at the front here. Has a Stormcaller on level 4 now for Rhaegar. And that could be the first tribute, yeah? Nobody goes for the interrupt. And that's a freebie for Cassia. She gets that. No interrupt there. Went into the inner light, by the way. So we're going to have even more... Falstad flying back to the bot lane. This is also a little bit of a misplay here by Falstad. So let's talk about this real quickly. Generally speaking, him rotating down when he has that up, not really a problem. But what would have been the better choice here? So normally when you're playing with a global on the map and you already see that the objective is spawning on the top side, which you can see now on the minimap, you want to have Falstad at the bottom of the map and then fly in. Because what that's going to do is you will get extra experience because you can push out an additional lane while your opponent already has to roll topside. If your opponent doesn't rotate and actually stays in the 1 versus 1, then the fight over the tribute at the top is a 4 versus 4, so it's dead even. And Falstad, Dehaka, any global, can just move straight to the top and turn the fight into a quick 5 versus 4 for a few seconds where you might be able to get the kill. So that's how you normally want to try and make that rotation. So just something that you can try and incorporate into your own play to set that up properly. But also, we're having now the follow-through. Now, personally, I still think that Ancestral Wrath is definitely the better choice to be taken here, but at least if you're going for Echo of Elements, you have, in theory, if you have the mechanics to really lock that down, a lot of value that you can get out of the follow-through. The thing is that I'm not quite sure Thor really has those mechanics, because the idea obviously is that through every ability you're trying to make sure that you're getting the extra basic attacks in and therefore time that properly. And you rarely see a lot of value gotten out of that, whereas something like Ancestral Wrath helps you a lot to burn someone like Diablo down and gives you self-sustain too. But there is definitely a damage argument to be made for this, and we're going to see how much that's going to turn out. This is a little bit of a difficult choke point to get into if there's a Cassia. This, on the other hand, is a nice split, and Leo is already getting attacked here. Haven't seen a single kill yet in this game. So we're going to watch for that, especially now that Cassie gets attacked. Flaming comes in with Diablo. Has another Stormbolt. Murd is a little bit low. 8 stacks for him so far. And they're zoning them out completely here. The blue team definitely taking a bit of a beating, but so far nobody has fallen. Here comes again the mace from Leo as he's going in. There's the spin to win as Sonya tries and get the value, but the stun shuts her down, and that's Rhaegar falling as well. Double kill for them already. We're still having, well, Muradin probably going to fall. Looks like Thrall isn't going to make it either, but he connects the root and survives for now. But they still get the kill against Muradin, who gets killed over here. So that is tribute number 2 in the hands of the Masters. And they're actually starting to go straight in for the next big play here. Going for Cassia and Pale. Falstad again using his global here. As I said before, normally not the way you really want to use this. And that's something that you actually see a lot when you're looking at the lower divisions, that the Hakas, after they recall, start to immediately burrow to the team, or that a Falstad flies to the team immediately. And that's usually not what you want to do with this. You're really trying to get that added value on the offlane and force your opponent to use resources to make that rotation there. Here's the level 10s on the other hand, and it's pretty much what you would expect. We have, at this point, you see, so Falstad, for example, could have flown down here. Now they're losing out on experience. It doesn't matter in the big scheme of things because they already have 3 kills over their opponent, but this is definitely a little bit of an issue and might actually already be... Yeah, you see, minion experience for the blue team is higher for the red team, even though they don't have a global. It's a small advantage, but it shouldn't be there. It should be the other way around if you have a hero like Falstad in the play. And on the other hand is a pretty nice setup. Blue team is now also cursed because they couldn't fight without their heroics. And there's another kill. Thrall dies at the worst moment in time here. And in the meantime, yes, leap, leap and bloodlust, baby. There we go. And now, obviously, Tychus has to make a choice. Is he going to go for the drill since he picked in the rhythm? Or is he instead going for Odin, which is normally the better choice? It's drill. It's actually one of the... or it was a standard talent for Tychus when we still had in the rhythm being a good talent. And in the rhythm being a good talent pretty much hinged on the level 13 when we had the opportunity through the trade to get hit points back. Blizzard ruined that talent completely. Because they now made it so that you only get the hit points once that the trade expires, which is actual a synergy with the level 4 talent, since obviously the more stacks you get, the longer it lasts, and the less value you're going to get at the end of the day from your level 13. So it's a little bit of a weird one, but yeah, Blizzard pretty much killed a complete Tychus build with that one change that they made there. A little bit of value gotten. And there is actually a split. So with that split that we've seen and everybody taking over, we have now a fort destroyed at the bottom of the map. The one at the top lane pretty much about to fall too, thanks to Falstad staying a little bit longer. And also the minion wave pushing in. And with that, we have an experience lead. Needs to be a little bit careful as we're having Thrall coming in, but there's the barrel roll, and we are all Gucci for now. With that said, we're actually having currently camps taken again all over the place, not only for the red team, but the blue team is pretty much doing the same thing. Looking at the damage output, the bird at 18,000 definitely has been able to deliver here thus far. Cassie on 13k, Dibbles also with a fair amount, and Leo has taken another camp. So the pressure is definitely on the Portrait Goblins. The mustache, I want pictures by the way. I mean, you can't just like tease with a name like this and then just sit there and say like, yeah, this is fine. I mean, I honestly want pictures. We need something from that team because that just sounds too good. So now we're having another tribute spawning topside again, which again brings me back to Falstad, who could be more active at the bottom of the map. Now you have to be, of course, incredibly careful now because that map already lost the fort. But with Falstad, you want to be at the bot side. Apocalypse, a little bit random, but still gets a hit. And there's the Bloodlust as they're trying to go in. The kill against Diablo. He has absolutely zero chance right there. The drill comes out way too late. But they got one kill. The problem is they lost two in the process. But Tigers definitely used that drill incredibly late. So that could have been a much faster here for him. As the drill came down. We're also having now the grounding bolts, a little bit of a hybrid. But in comes the Neo Steel coding. I like it. Again, not going for the 13 makes a whole lot of sense there. But now, with the advantage that we're seeing for the Mustache, they actually should try and push straight through the middle and take that fort down. There's a boss at the bot lane that they could have maybe rotated over, but they didn't. So, it was a good kill against Diablo first of all, but then the issue that they're just losing too much. It's 6 kills against 1. There's the bird again. Muradin is asking for trouble right now. He should be a little bit careful there at the front. But the heroic abilities are going to come back soon. Sonya also with Leap activated. Well, able to activate it. And Marco is already sitting at the top. It's even talents though. There's the attempted spear. Another Stormbolt hits. And with even talents, they can try and make the play right now. Dawn Trooper coming in from the side. In terms of stacks, Muradin is sitting at 13. 61 for the In the Rhythm. The bounce doesn't happen. And the attack against George. And at the side, Thrall is eliminated now too. As a Thrall, you just can't get caught like that. That's the problem. You can be incredibly powerful if you're coming in from behind, but at the same time, you still need someone at the front to try and soak some of the damage, and that's just not happening there. Especially since they're relying on Bloodlust right now. They are pretty much in a situation where they're attempting to get that damage done quickly. Honestly, Bloodlust is also a horrendous pick here, not just simply because Bloodlust itself is kind of always worse than going into ancestral healing. The problem is, if Falstad plays it correctly, he will gust every single time Bloodlust is activated. It's the only thing that you have to do, seriously. Once that Bloodlust gets activated, you just gust. It's all that you gotta do. And Gust on the 60-second cooldown, Bloodlust on a 90-second cooldown, you do the math, that's a win right there. Apo comes through, there's the kill, and they go straight for it again. Falstad with a Gust, even a little bit late. Could have also Gusted after the Entomb, by the way, to get an isolation on a target or two. Failed to do that. Drill this time a lot earlier, and they get the kill against Cassia, but Rhaegar has also fallen, and Sonya dies as well. So does Tychus, and it looks like we might see that 5-man wipe. As we have Muradin. Yeah, Muradin is down as well. And now we have to make a choice. Go for boss, try and rotate towards the bot keep. Probably not going to work. There's pressure at the top lane. So at this point, for the Portrait Goblins, everything is looking a little bit dicey. Very difficult for them to make a play here. They have to defend the top lane, and the boss is about to be taken. And they probably know that at this point too. With this said, we're having also the Afterburner taken, Giant Killer. This is a bit of a weird build if you ask me. I mean, he goes into Giant Killer despite the fact that he doesn't have Seasoned Marksman, and then we have Afterburner as well. So the build is a little bit all over the place, to be absolutely honest with you. Personally would have preferred more so of a Mage build on 13 and 16 if you already go into Boomerang. Wingman obviously works. But yeah, a little bit more of a utility build. But he still gets the top damage here. Also is a little bit telling how much Cassia was so far able to add. But with 12 kills against 2, you can definitely tell that these guys are rocking the show here. The Portrait Goblins are having massive problems to coordinate their heroic abilities. And as I said before, Bloodlust is just not doing the trick for them right now, especially when there is on the other side that Gust available. There's another boss now taken. And they're gonna claim this easy peasy. Yeah, we saw that. The bird gets locked down right there. Okay, so with this, we're having on 13, by the way. Now, also, there's another interrupt potential. What's the top? On the bot. They need a little bit more experience. Someone needs to be here, getting the experience for 16, and nobody is. So Thrall over here is going for the boss. This is pretty much pointless, to be honest. I mean, again, it depends a little bit, right? Like, if you want to defend the boss, then everybody should be there. So they took the camp in the mid lane instead. Sonya is running all over the place, but generally speaking, if you want to fight for that curse, you should have just gone for level 16 and sacrificed the top keep, and I honestly think that would have been the play. Right now, they are losing Sonya, they're losing the bottom keep, the top keep is still falling because of the curse, so they're going to lose everything and probably the game too. Instead, what they could have done is just split those heroes onto the lanes a little bit earlier, get the level 16 talent, and fight a potential final fight. If they lose it, it's over, but the core would have defended against the boss anyways. Right now, they're pretty much wrecked though, and yeah, that shield is falling quickly. And here we have now with a 3-level advantage, the mustache moving in, and that core is gonna fall. In comes the quick attempt to change this with the Bloodlust, but it's unsuccessful, and the mustache have the 1-0 lead. Ugh. Game number 2. The mustaches are in the lead, ladies, and the portrait goblins have to try and turn this around now if they want to have a chance to reach the grand final. We're in the semis right now, and let's check out what the draft is going to give us. Since this is another big map, so we could see once more the globals play a bit of a role in this case. Forza was already drafted in the last one. Let's see if we're gonna have... Is there anything in particular what I would ban out? Tyrande, okay. It's actually interesting that Tyrande even gets played on that level, because normally we're not seeing her a whole lot. So that is usually something that happens in other divisions, especially high up more so. So I'm actually pretty happy about the Tyrande pick in the earlier game from the Mustache. So Tyrande banned out. We're having also again the ban on Imperius. We've seen that before. Malthael has made it into the first and now the second draft as a ban. Again, preference picks and bans are going to play a huge role here, so it's a little bit tricky to really analyze too much about the draft without really knowing the teams too well, because this is going to be far away from the normal meta. But it would still be great to see those globals. And here's a Jimmy ban. So a little bit worried about those auto attacks, but and the insta Jaina lockout. I mean, snap Jaina pick right there. It's just like burst damage, baby. And there we go. And already the annoyed Brightwing on the other side. An angry Brightwing here. As Diablo and Leo get picked again. So yeah, Diablo and Leoric seem to really be the staple on the front line of this team. And it is a good combo. I mean, again, Leo can easily take that experience on the side lane. He can rotate between 2 lanes. Diablo is pretty nice there too. But the burst damage is ready for the portrait goblins. Question is just simply, what do they pair that with? And for now we get... Ooh! Okay! This looks like a good old kidnap combo to me. Stitches, Hook, Gorge into a Mighty Gust to isolate the target. Then I would still like to see something along the lines of Malfurion for the root after Stitches. I mean, if they really want to go for a combo, that would be the way to play it. Or another stun hero. I mean, you could still play a side laner that has a stun active and play around that. But we're gonna have a Stitches play. Okay, there's a Rhaegar ban. Yes, there are camps on the map, but I don't really think that Rhaegar would have fit that combo too well anyway, so I don't think that's a concern for them. Malfurion would synergize with this way better. Stukov, I mean, again, if you're not really going for meta or anything, then Stukov would also be pretty okay with this. Since you can just simply silence the target. But the problem if you're going for the comp, if you don't go Putrid Bile here, is also that you are actually putting all of your eggs into one basket. Malfurion gets picked away. And that makes me already interested to see what the support is going to be on the other side. But as I said, you don't have to go into Gorge. I'm just like, I'm looking at Jaina, I'm looking at the Falstad, and that could be a combo that they're going to try and employ here. But in general, Putrid Bile on this map is pretty solid for the objective fight. Lunara! Alright, we have a little bit of Bambi action in the game now. Okay. Alrighty. And what else are we gonna get? Last two picks coming in now for the Portrait Goblins. Support, first of all, needed, and what's gonna be the offlaner for them? Oh, did you really just do that? Oh, guys, I thought you wanted to win. Oh, nice. All right, we get the global value at least. The Thrall, on the other hand, I like that. The Thrall is actually fine, but yeah, they actually went for Shitwing, just for Khaldor. And there's a Li Ming on the other side. Brightwing against Lunara Li Ming. Do you actually want to play the game, or do you just want to surrender right now? It's like, damn, son. There is just no way that Brightwing is going to be able to heal any of that damage out. But again, maybe I'm going to be surprised here. Is Brightwing the best hero in the game? We're going to find out right now on Alderac Pass, map number 2. Okay, the Fruit Fly made it into a game. On the left side, we have the Portrait Goblins with Don Trooper on Jaina, George on Stitches, and the hero that looks like a goblin, Colby on Brightwing. The Fruit Fly makes it into the game and has to prove herself against Lunara and Li Ming. Well, have fun and good luck. You'll need it. Arabian on Thrall and Pukameli on Falstad with an actual auto attack build on the bird. Haven't seen that in a bit, but yep, still a powerful one. Blauer Mink on the other hand, playing Diablo right now. We're having Faldas on Malfurion, Surge on Lunara, Maku on Leoric, and Pogo Kapi on Li Ming. So with that said, we already have the Savor the Flavor taken. So this is a big map, and again, I've been talking with Stitches a lot about Hungry for More, but you are on a map right now where it's questionable how many of those globes you can get together. So going into Savor your Flavor, Savor the Flavor might actually be a good choice for them. Stitches has a lot of fun stuff that you can toy around with, especially on level 1s. That's already a good one. I like that we're having the Fingers of Frost here still taken for Jaina, so not going full NA with the build or anything. But it's going to be interesting to see how Brightwing will deal with especially the Lunara damage. Because if Surge plays Lunara well, I mean, that's obviously always a question, right? So if he does his job well, then we should see a Lunara that can get a lot of poke damage out. You have great frontliners here that can protect you. You have in the backline then Malfurion, and next to Lunara, just Li Ming with a constant damage. So there's definitely a lot of arguments to be made for Brightwing have a bit of trouble. With this setup, I really want Thrall on level 7 to go for the Ancestral Wrath. Keep in mind, in the previous game, we didn't see that. We actually had the follow-through taken. And we at least have on the side of Stitches now with the Savor the Flavor a little bit of self-sustain for him that he could try and put to the test here now as well. But as it stands, we're going to find out if they can, with Brightwing, heal out the Lunara damage, or if it's just going to be a little bit too much. And we're actually seeing the Crash Lightning. Not a fan, for the reasons that I pointed out several times right now. When do you want to pick Trash Lightning? I mean, in this case, it's actually Trash Lightning. Trash Lightning is usually a talent that you want to pick when you have Thrall in your 4-man, and that is only possible if you have another melee that can take the offlane. Do we have that here? No, we don't. Instead, we're now seeing Brightwing on one offlane, and up at the top we're seeing Falstad. So they're trying to play with two heroes that have a little bit of a global aspect to it to allow Thrall to go into the middle, but he should be the one that sits on one of those side lanes. So it is going to be really difficult for Ivan to get those stacks together. When it comes to the objective, on the other hand, he has a decent chance of getting stacks on that regard. So he might be able to get something done, but this is definitely a map where it's going to be a bit more difficult for Thrall to get value out of this. Especially if the mustaches are smart enough to try and split a little bit whenever the fight for the prisoner camp is happening. Thrall now even completely abandoning the stacking process for now and instead just going over to the camp makes also sense since the opponent does the exact same, so there's only a single hero on every single map at this point. But yeah, down to the bottom of the map, Having now Li Ming already sitting there with that massive wave clear of hers. Kappa. But yeah, Falstad obviously starting to get his stacks together now too. I mean, he's in the position where he is at the top lane against Leo, so he has a couple of extra damage points on the auto attacks already as it stands. But yeah, Dibbles in this case against Jaina also made the choice to go into the Soul Shield instead. I like that adjustment quite a bit. There is a lot of damage, especially, well, spell damage, especially also with obviously Falstad being on the side. Now, I really hope that Falstad still goes into Boomerang on level 7. Again, doesn't matter what kind of build you play with Falstad, there is only one level 7 talent when it comes to the Hammerang. Alright, level 4s are in. With that, we're already having the magic spit taken. I mean, it's already disgusting enough to have the fruit fly in the room anyways, but if it also spits at you, I mean, seriously, that is just like, ugh, yuck. Serrated edge taken for Stitches, and George so far doesn't have a single stack on the Savor the Flavor. Doesn't have one. Falstad went into the Hammer gains, which makes obviously perfect sense for him. And it's time for the first objective. And normally when you're looking at any kind of like high-level play, the first objective is always a bit delayed. But I would actually expect that on the lower level here, we're going to see the fight for it pretty much immediately. So now, Riven already at the bot lane, losing one tower. At the top, Falstad. Again, this time Falstad is actually on the right lane. This time Falstad is actually on the right lane, and now he can rotate down with a fly whenever there's an actual fight and turn it into a quick 5 versus 4, always assuming that Leo stays top. And if Leo doesn't stay top, then Falstad can push out an additional wave and turn it around. There's the fight on the other hand. I have no idea what that blizzard is. Like, what exactly was that? The blizzard into the empty space right there. The bird comes in, so does Leo. And they're reclaiming that. Like, Don Trooper is sitting there and saying, like, guys, I don't want to use my blizzard, but it's off cooldown. So I heard that you have to spam your abilities whenever they're off cooldown. So let's go straight away and drop it again. But yeah, amazing zone value that we're having right there from Jaina. Definitely gonna keep my eye on that. Can tell you that much. And it's actually, look at this, 0 damage to Jill heroes so far. 4 minutes into the game right now. So yeah, this is an interesting one. There we go. Come on. Come on, Don Trooper, you're better than that. Still no hit. Absolutely nothing. Level 7 talents are there. Nice Boomerang, I like it. Good Ancestral Wrath. Absolutely happy about that. We have the Splintered Spear. Another good choice here. And Calamity. So no orb bullshit here either. That's already great. But yeah, this is already started to become an interesting setup. And especially at this point, I mean, if you look at it, we have 1 stack now, 2 stacks for Stitches. Throw out another hit here. They're actually about to zone this out a little bit, putting them into a choke point. Jaina could definitely control that if she really wanted to. Okay. Still 0 damage against chilled heroes from Jaina. And yep, there we go. Alright, and Neela get the damage against Blauer Mink, but that's... I don't think any of the blizzards that we've seen so far has actually damaged the hero. That was a good hook on the other hand. Polymorph is there. Can they get the kill? No, they cannot. And those blizzards still don't do damage to heroes. But it... Oh, the bird! The bird! The bird wants to go on the grill. Suicide straight into the Arblo, and now we're having the... Oh my god, the fruit fly is down as well. Li Ming is just getting damage in together with Lunara, and now obviously the move to the left side. 6 stacks that we're seeing here for Thrall, but this is going to be the first objective for the red team. Okay, so the synergies are not really working out the way that they need them to. And as I said before, if you're going for that Stitches combo, what you would really love to have is a stun. Now, Brightwing has Polymorph, but you can still move while Polymorphed, and if Thrall doesn't connect his own Wolf, then that is an issue. So you kind of want to have someone that has an absolute hard CC, so that after a hook that can land. That's why oftentimes we're seeing Tyrande or Malfurion paired, or another hero on the side lane that has that stun and then try to use that before you drop the burst damage. So the 3 would have to coordinate their attacks a little bit more. Especially with Don Trooper, who is supposed to be the one damage dealer that then drops everything straight onto the target. Already we have the Raiders out. A little bit of an attempt of Blauerming to get a setup here. And that could actually work, okay. Gonna try for Stitches. There's the APOC. They have the 10s, but the Polymorph ruining the play. The level 10 abilities are still there. That's still a problem. Thornwood Wines on Lunara. Bambi is doing good work here. And this is really the moment where I'm most afraid for the blue team, because I just don't think that Brightwing will be able to deal with that damage overtime that we're going to see. Bottom of the map. There's another big push, as we have definitely the first fort of the game falling right there. Looking at the damage output, doesn't surprise that Lunara is currently top damage on the red team. We're still having a Thrall with 12,000, so it's not too bad. Again, he went into Crash Lightning. And Crash Lightning, honestly, if you complete that talent, it is insane what he does on damage. Thrall's damage is usually absolutely crazy, and I mean, it's oftentimes mostly poke damage, but you can do a lot with that. So far, that play at the top doesn't quite work out for Liming. Thrall hasn't died yet either. But the problem for him is still going to be, how do you get those stacks together? I mean, 8 minutes in pretty much, and he has 6 stacks only. Falset actually dying to that rotation. Alright, the bird goes down and then gets kicked. And yeah, with that now, a move for the boss. That's still a little bit ballsy. It's, by the way, also the Ring of Frost. There's a Gust, a Ring of Frost on the other side. I'm not quite sure if that's going to work out. There's the Entomb. The ring comes out, connects with one, but the damage is there. Sundering from Thrall. He's about to fall. Yep, he goes down. There's the end of Jaina. And now they're going to lose Brightwing as well. As I said before, you have 0 chance, in my opinion, against those damage dealers with Brightwing as a support. That's just not going to work out for you. They don't have enough control in these cases. Fawcett wasn't there. I couldn't Gust either at that point. But now they're trying to make the play for Stitches, and this is just not really working out. Again, if you play that combo with Gorge, you want to sit back and you want to get that hook in, and then you want to isolate the target, maybe even drop the Mighty Gust. And so far, we haven't seen any of these combos. And going up in a straight 5 versus 5 fight, if you are up against the Lunara, is just a big problem if you only have Brightwing as the healer. Even Blink Heal doesn't change that. If you have heroes that are great at engaging and can put pressure on Lunara, then it might be a different story, but they don't have any of that. It's not like they don't have a Genji here or something, or that they can use an Hanzo arrow to get a quick stun against Lunara and then capitalize with someone else diving in and securing the kill. So now they're already behind with 9 kills against 0, 2 levels behind, and we're seeing the Mustache also going straight for the second objective here, which is going to make matters obviously worse. So with this, we're now having topside, the boss doing solid work against this fort. This one should fall. Down here, they're already starting to take the massive lead. Leo is even moving into the middle for a bit of a swing. And it seems like they're feeling pretty safe. Well, they're not even attacking because, well, or are they? Because there's no 13. Now, again, you can still get that hook. You can still get that hook. And, yeah, 16 would make this a little bit easier. But they don't have that now. Okay, there's the attempt to at least reclaim the prisoner camp, and they do, but the APOC and Trashwing is about to fall, goes down again. Nice ring though, but Jaina is still dead. Now they go also for the bird, and Stitches falls as well. All of them down and annihilated here, so yep. By the way, Falstad still doesn't have the same amount of experience that we're seeing from Leo, for example. So coming back to that global aspect that you are trying to capitalize on a little bit more than we're seeing from them now. Now we have Raiders pushing through, plus in addition to that, a massive lead. I mean, we're talking 3 levels pretty much here. And that is going to be the fort in the middle of the map. With that, we're also having the keeps threatened on pretty much every single lane right now. Damage outputs by now pretty solid from Liming, who is able to get a lot of these kills here. Thrall, 18,000, not bad for him, but as we said before, we're currently looking at a Thrall that only has 10 stacks. And Jaina just doesn't get the damage in, is spamming out the abilities a little bit too much, doesn't really connect them properly, and is below the damage output of pretty much everybody else on this team at this moment in time. So the Jaina pick so far hasn't really worked for them. 10,000 damage now, that makes her pretty much the lowest damage dealer outside of Brightwing. So not really where you want to be at this point. First keep is already down, and they're moving towards the top to try and take another one, and it feels like they should be able to pull this off. This is a double talent lead that we're currently seeing for Mustaches. 14 against 0. That's what we're seeing in terms of level, so that's 2 talents. And with both of those keeps already gone, it means that, of course, the armor shields that we are having on the big boss are reduced to only 1, represented by the bottom keep in the game. As you can see here, 2 of them already empty. At least the 13 is ready for the portrait goblins, but up to this point they haven't gotten a single kill, and they need to try and turn this around. Giant killer for Falstad is definitely going to help them to get some extra damage against the front line. But how are they going to make those kills? Because they kind of need to land that hook gorge. And I haven't seen one of these combos land yet. If they just can get that hook right now, they might be able to get someone here. The problem is you definitely don't want to have Leo. Keep it's also attacked, half HP for it. And everybody else is just sitting in the middle for whatever reason. They need to defend this, and they don't. And now they have lost the entire structures that they ever had. Yeah, Broccoli gets hooked here. And that's all she wrote for now. 3 level ahead, 14 kills against 0. Massive damage advantage. And at this point, you pretty much... If you're on the red team, the only thing that you have to do now is don't fuck it up. And they go for the boss. They still have vision, thanks to the minions on the left side. And the boss is taken. And with that, they should just simply end. Right now, honestly, you just push to end the game. It's the only thing you have to do. 3 level advantage is a massive, massive stats lead. It's honestly a crazy stats lead. They have so much more hit points. They have so much more damage. And, well, with that, they also have the extra talent. They have a boss at the bot lane. All of the keeps are down, so this is pretty much game right there. And, yeah, they're still going for it. There's the hook, there's the gorge, and the entomb to turn it around. Yeah, the gust was a bit too late for that. The ringer, not too bad as an idea, but looks like we're going to have a perfect game here. They are getting murdered. And not from Brightwing. Flower Mink might fall, and yes, he dies. So they get a kill at least, but everybody else is already low. That keep, that boss is getting attacked too, and now every lane pushes in for it as well. Thrall on 15 stacks, 50 minutes in, so yeah, Crash Lightning hasn't really worked out, but it was mainly a bit of a draft issue there. And with that, we're now having the game taken, and therefore the series claimed by the Mustaches, who take the 2-0 victory against the Portrait Goblins at the semi-final. Hey guys, thanks for watching today's video, and I hope that you enjoyed the match and the commentary. The remaining time of the video has been added to protect against spoilers caused by the length of the video itself. But please keep in mind, though, that this does not only mean more work for me, but also has a negative impact on the popularity of the videos and the channel because of YouTube's algorithms. It would be greatly appreciated if you'd consider supporting the channel and help me to continue the daily esports coverage by clicking the join button below the video or supporting me through the Patreon page linked in the video description. Thanks a lot for the support, and see you guys next time.